Yes.
You can make more money if you invest in your branding.
Hi, I'm Jordyn.
And I'm Sara, and we're both successful serial entrepreneurs who believe the world is way better with more. More women-owned businesses, more wealth, more magic, and more champagne. But before we can add more, we need to return old business ideas that are taking up too much space in our lives.
Enter The Refund, our content series for folks who are looking to return old storylines, concepts, and habits that no longer serve their life in business. Each episode, we're going to cover one topic, share 3 key takeaways, and we're going to receive a refund on what is no longer fitting the bill. Hashtag no receipts required.
Listen and watch The Refund on YouTube and wherever you love to listen to podcasts. Yeah, and that's exciting because that's what I do for a living. Mm-hmm. I run a creative agency, and we create beautiful, impactful branding for our clients.
Yes.
That is, we create collateral with that branding, whether it's digital collateral or print collateral or websites. And it is something that I found that either our clients get it or like people get it. So like our dreamy client gets it. They're coming to us. I'm not explaining to them why this is an important investment. Mm-hmm. They just get it. But I've really found that entrepreneurs either totally get it and they're willing to invest, or they're like, oh, I don't understand. Why am I spending money on this? Can't I just do it myself?
Oh, God.
And
can I just do it myself if I had a nickel?
Right. Right. And I'm a big believer, especially in my own business. I'm very much so just a creative brain. Not just, but what's that?
You're like, it's your zone of genius.
My zone of genius is on that creative side.
Yes.
Is that my left side? See, I don't even know which side it is.
I don't even know, but it's whatever side is like vibrant.
I'm not balanced really at all. I'm also strategic, but I have a really clearly creative. That is my genius land.
That's the sweet spot.
That's where I should keep playing. I shouldn't really try much else. Let's just keep playing and creativity, brainstorming, ideating. I gotta hang there.
Yeah.
And I've just really noticed that people don't get it. But I will hire everything out.
Right.
I'm I shouldn't try to be a bookkeeper. Mm-hmm. I shouldn't try to do all of these other things.
Yep.
And I don't. And I invest in that, and it's always returned really great, things into my life and into my business. And so the same thing can happen if you invest in branding.
So when people who don't understand branding come to you, it's the mindset of, well, isn't it just a logo? Isn't it just colors?
Such a good question.
Isn't it just typography with all these free tools? I mean, can I just change my colors? I feel like I hear that a lot, and there's not an understanding of those are assets, right?
Yes, those are brand assets.
Okay.
I always like to explain branding and having a conversation around brand 2 ways. So there's the big B brand, that's your overarching brand. That is who you are, what you stand for, why you're doing what you're doing. Your values, your mission, this pulse of your business, how you show up, all of those things roll up into your big B brand. For the purposes of our conversation, branding, that's the visual story. Branding is the visual story that you're telling that supports that big B brand mission. So it's, your colors, your typography, how you use your logos, not just your logo suite themselves, but how are you using that? It's the creative direction that that sets the tone. It's the mood of your brand. It's the photography that you choose to use. It's how that's edited. It's the videography. Yeah. It's why we chose to be in this setting that we did. Those visual elements. It's the tone of voice that you use also. So I guess it's not just that visual story, but it really is that story that helps tell and bring to life your big B brand.
Yeah.
A misconception I like to touch on a lot is people fast track to the website. They're like, I need to redo my website.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, and maybe you do. And maybe you do. Do you also need to look at redoing your branding to ensure that you're captivating and calling in the right people? Those visual stories are really, really impactful for making sure you're talking to the right people. Yeah. And so that's what we do for our clients. A lot of our clients come to us and they've either DIY'd it before, because starting a business is expensive, it's overwhelming, it's hard.
Yes, you're just trying to get it live.
You just need something out there. And I am a firm believer in done is good enough. Just get that shit out there, right? It doesn't need to be perfect day one. I also have seen the immense value that can come in when you are willing to invest in your brand, and how that can much more quickly propel you into financial success.
And you can tell, once you spend enough time understanding the concept of a really good brand, you know a good brand when you see it and you go,
know.
they hired a professional.
And I think too, it's clear of the products that are on our shelves. You like walk in Target, for example. We've all shopped Target before. You don't look at a product on a Target shelf and think like, oh, they did that themselves.
Yeah.
There's clearly been this investment in ensuring that the story they're telling is the right story that gets that, all of a sudden it's in your cart and you're like, what the fuck just happened? I didn't even know I needed this, but oh my God, I need this thing. It's the components that help make that action, that experience happen.
Yep.
Your marketing leverages that brand identity. Your marketing leverages those brand assets. Your advertising, obviously, your website, all of your brand collateral, the packaging you use. Those are all representations of that core branding.
Totally.
But that's that experience that makes people just say, I cannot not have this. I have to have this.
It's going in my cart. I don't even know what it's for.
Add to cart. And you like have a blackout moment and just do it?
It feels like it's a part of your aesthetic. So like, and you only have, I mean, how many seconds of someone's attention in this world? 8?
It's not even, it's getting fat. It's
oh my
getting
God,
shorter.
we have a shorter attention
getting
span
shorter.
than a goldfish. That's crazy. But like, you have less than 8 seconds to tell the story of what the brand is. Is my mic falling? Probably. I have no pockets in anything.
I got you.
But I love that it's like, branding is an arm of the story. So it's like, just as you tell stories through marketing, through your product, like, I always feel like Shark Tank's a good example because they're always like, do you have a brand or do you have a product?
Yeah.
And sometimes they're not going to invest in products. They're like, this isn't a brand. This isn't a business. This isn't something.
Chapstick is chapstick. Lipstick is lipstick. Clean beauty is clean beauty. Vegan mac and cheese is vegan mac and cheese.
That was like the first moment for me when I was like watching Shark Tank and there was someone who had some sort of beauty product and they're like, this is a product, not a brand. And Bethany Frankel from Skinny Girl, she had said,
I love her margaritas.
I love her. She's so nuts, but I love her in the best way possible.
Yeah, she's fun.
But she invested in a product and she says, this isn't just a product. This is a brand. And you can branch out more products, but you're not even looking at the brand that you have.
And
it's an umbrella.
And so what she was saying is like, I can help you identify this big B brand and how we're going to activate that is through incredible branding and amazing marketing touch points and all the things.
100%.
That's cool. So she saw the vision that the founders had, but they weren't
They just saw it as a
executing.
product. They just saw it as a product. They didn't think, this is a larger brand that can have a visual that isn't just for this one specific product. Just like Skinny Girl to me is this brand. It's red. It's white. It's a skinny woman holding whatever a drink, and it's an entire breadth of food and beverages that she's creating, which is genius.
And there's a whole story behind it, that people really resonate with.
So I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, so when you say investment, people are like, is that a marketing expense? Like, what's the difference between an expense versus an investment?
I'm just going to be real here. I think that there are some things that can really clearly have a direct correlation between I spent $5 and I got 15 back. Right. And it's just so crystal clear what that ROI is. Non-debatable. You don't need to discuss it. You don't need to like aggregate the data differently. It's just black and white. Design isn't that way.
Yeah, it's brand awareness. And like you can't measure that top funnel. You can, but it's squishy.
It's super squishy. Yeah. And that's why I say the people who get it, they don't know that they've been tricked into consuming that, right?
It's subliminal messaging.
It's super subliminal.
Through design and color and typography.
And it's all strategic, right? Yeah. Like a really good example is think about a bank, right? Wells Fargo has like a maroony red in their branding. Imagine if Wells Fargo picked like bold Crayola crayon red. Yeah. There's a very terrible connotation between red and your bank account. You don't want to see red in the parentheses. Right. That's really scary.
Right.
So a brand strategist would not be like, hey, new bank, I'm going to do Crayola crayon red for you. Like that would just be
fire.
Right. Terrible. We're just lighting cash on fire here.
Yeah. Crazy
so there's
typography.
A lot of reasoning behind what's chosen for any specific brand that helps with this subliminal connection point. A consumer doesn't really even have time anymore to read words.
Who you are and what you do.
They need to visually be stimulated enough to take action, to stay on the website, to put it in cart, whatever, to read and learn more. They visually need to be stimulated first. Yeah. And so It's really hard to equate that to very hard specific
numbers
facts.
to tie it to an ROI.
It is hard.
Yeah.
There's really great data out there. We talk about, we have a whole article on ROI and design at heysaraschultz.com, my website, where we blog and have free resources all about business and design information. And so you typically see like a 2.5 time lift when you're investing in design.
Yes.
Now, this is where I see that that's a challenge, right? Like, I'm just being really honest here, right? Over how long?
Yeah.
When does this come into you? So it's
because you have people
it's gray.
challenging you, right?
It's great. It's great
because it's an investment, which means it's probably going to cost more, and you're not going to see the direct return as if you were to see a Facebook ad,
exactly.
right? It's different. The data points are different.
You don't get to track that expense as cleanly,
right?
Which is a part of the reason I call that an investment versus an expense.
Yes.
I feel like an expense is something that has a really clear, trackable, it's like evidence.
Yes, that it worked or
that
didn't.
It worked or that it didn't. I think thinking of investing in your branding, or even how you bring your branding into the world via collateral, both print or digital or however you're creating that, I think if you really realize this is an investment in creating this experience that will convert, and trusting if you've hired the right team, it works every time. It's not going to not work. It's not going to not work.
Right. It, to me, is like you're almost investing in your customer in a really indirect way, where it's like you're investing in the dreamy client, the customer that you want, and you're not going to negotiate. Right. You're not going to negotiate that. Yeah.
Right. It's a risk that you don't know how long it's going to take to pay out. The other thing too is that so much has to be done with that branding.
Yeah, it's not just
the branding.
Right.
Right. You don't just build the brand and create the branding and then like, oh my gosh, I'm a millionaire.
Again, it's one arm.
It's one arm. You have to leverage that. You have to use it strategically. You have to use it consistently. You have to make sure your messaging is on point. It's a lot has to come into play. That's the other reason I really have a hard time when a client is challenging me on this ROI. I'm like, well, listen, I stop. Like, my scope stops here. You could fuck this up. You could just be super shitty at bringing this to life, and that's not on me. And also, all of your success is not on me, because there's so many things. So I really do have a hard time for people that are very numbers driven. They need to just understand that there is value in this investment.
Yep.
And I oftentimes tell people that are struggling with that conversation, you know, one thing, maybe I'm not the person for them, and that's totally fine, right? Like, maybe you're just seeking out an answer for something that really, it's just we're not vibing. Yeah. That's totally cool. Go find your person. But I just like to remind them, like, think about how you consume. Think about the things that are really easy for you to purchase, or that just, like, again, just you can't not put them in your cart. You are falling for really good branding, really good marketing, and that's the power of a visual story.
Totally. Think about what's in your bathroom. Think about the skincare products.
What's on the shelf versus what's in the drawer.
Yep.
Don't you want your product to be on the shelf? Right? I'm working with some cosmetic brands right now. They're building out their new brands. And that's one of the key things we're focusing on.
Aesthetic.
We want our product on the shelf. We want our consumer to just feel like, this is so beautiful, this is going right in plain sight. Not like, oh shit, I don't want anyone to see this.
I have to hide this like ugly,
or whatever.
Or just like some like hemp oil that's like in this terrible packaging, and you like, I want like beautiful, colorful, that like looks like art on, but like that's the type of consumer I am. Where it's aesthetic is important to me.
Yes.
And that's not every brand.
That's not every brand. And that's okay too.
Yep.
That's totally okay. You have to be willing as a business owner to decide, what are your goals? Not everyone should invest in branding. We talked about this, right? If you are going to rely solely on work volume that just you as an individual can execute, and your core network of referrals that are bringing people in, like, maybe there's other things that are going to be better for you to invest in. Yeah. Right? But if you want, or maybe DIYing is good enough for you just to like get your name out there enough, right? I'm not saying this is for everyone. But if you want to be a nationally recognizable brand, if you want placement in A+ retailers, in incredible publications, it's not an option. You can't skimp out on this as an investment in growing your business.
It is your first impression, and maybe your only impression to customers, investors, partnerships.
Investors, that's a good one.
Yes, it is.
Showing that you're committed to your brand helps other people be committed to your brand.
It is a level of professionalism. It's a level of, I get a feeling when I see this. I mean, that's how my investor found me. She didn't meet me. She met my website. She met Mend. Anytime I see clients, it's like they found me through my website. Like that is, and they think about you. And then when they see things that remind them of your brand or your color scheme, that's a return on your investment.
Yes.
When I started Mend, I started with the brand first. Before I designed one piece of jewelry, I said, I want a delicate, simple, feminine, but powerful brand. And I said that to a designer and she was like,
got it.
Say no more. And then we went through a couple rounds, but then she gave me this beautiful blush pink, this really clean geometric branding.
So powerful.
And then once she gave me that, I said, okay, this now needs to be translated on my website, social media. My photographers get to see this. So then when someone goes to my site, they go, oh, this isn't the jewelry brand that I get like silver, edgy, bold pieces from. This is where I get feminine, significant,
it's delicate, elegant,
pretty jewelry.
It goes with everything.
It is, and when people are
it's
like,
wearable.
Yes. I one time had someone say, oh, I got this table in Mend pink. And I said,
did you cry?
Ding, 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 ding. I even got a suit in the Mend pink. I said, everyone is going to know that Mend pink, and that is me, and I want you to think about me. And whenever you think simple, significant, beautiful jewelry, you think of me. But that's branding, and that's just not like
you didn't
a logo.
Exactly.
It was my photography.
It's all of it.
My social. It was how I wrote things. It's the photography. Like, you send your creative director of that shoot, here's the branding. Can you translate this into photography? And a good creative director can do that.
It is that recognition is what leads to that brand recognition is what leads to brand loyalty.
Yes.
And brand loyalty is what leads to conversion.
Yeah, and retention.
Right?
You don't coming.
You don't want to just close a client and be done. You want them to come back for more of what you have to offer. That's one of the main spaces that business owners leave cash on the table. They're not having their clients come back for more services, more products, whatever it is.
And they stick with you throughout. So like if I raise my prices or if they feel like they're a part of it, and they stick around. And people that are loyal to deals and prices, I can't remember who said it. It might have been Marie Forleo. They're called PITAs. They're called pains in the asses.
Oh, yeah.
They have no loyalty to anybody.
Right.
They're driven by price point. And that's fine, but that wasn't my business.
Some people want that.
I don't want that. I'm not a discount business.
No.
It's an investment. You care about the piece, and you're thinking about somebody. You're not just buying it because it's cheap.
We got to fact check this. We got to talk about doing a fact check, but I would say maybe 3 years ago.
Make sure we're not making anything up.
It was like roughly the latest data point I read was like 3 years ago is a consumer needs 7 touch points.
I think it is. Yeah, that's
still
sales.
7
it's 7 touch points
before they'll convert. And so each one of those touch points needs to be recognizable to your brand, and that's the power of branding.
They need to think about you. When you're not there, if you decide you're going on vacation and someone sees their brand, can the brand stand on its own without you there running the show? Can you be separate?
Want that.
Right. And like,
branding helps you do that.
And it just makes customers want to feel special. They want to feel like they're in this experience that's unique to them.
Yeah.
You think about really good brands and they create these storefronts or experiences. Casper, the mattress company, is a good example.
I don't even need a mattress, and I was like, I'm going to go buy a mattress
today. They reinvented the way you purchase, mattresses. You go into the stores and there's like cute little clouds and lights, and they're like, oh, they care about my quality of sleep. Oh, and they're going to deliver it to my house. I don't have to move a fucking mattress.
And that was all, I'm making some assumptions here because I wasn't a part of that creative project.
I assume there was good branding.
But that was born in the foundational determinations of what is our brand, that big B, and how are we activating that via our branding.
Yes.
And then someone said, okay, we're going to do retail stores. So we're going to take how are we translating this branding, this foundation that's so important that's been defined up front. How do we translate that into a storefront? How do we translate that into a website experience? How do we translate that into a YouTube channel? Subscribe to our channel.
That's a really good reminder. You're good at those.
To continue getting the refund episode. So it's really activating that and bringing it to life.
Thought behind it. They picked blue and white. Blue is calming, like the color theory and how you use typography. Like, there is so much just like thought that goes behind really good branding that people have no idea. And that's why you need to hire somebody who's a professional at it, because it works. Like,
it works.
It works. And there's a reason why it exists. There's a reason why there's brand loyalty. And again, go through all the brands that you follow. Why do you follow them?
Right.
Like, that is going to be the answer to it. And it's a long-term investment. It's like, people are going to remember you. People are going to be loyal to you. Like, those are things that you'll see over time. They're not just going to show up in 30 days. You can't measure that. Maybe you will if it's a big launch and it drives new traffic.
There are definitely some, there are some data points you can capture and measure.
You're allowed to be squishy, but like, again, like...
Of course I picked a career that allowed me to be squishy.
Ding, 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 and I picked a consulting business where I'm like, here are the numbers.
But even
here's a spreadsheet.
But even you, as somebody that's really driven by that clear data, understands the fluid and emotional experience that branding is and the importance of that. And that has served your business well. Talk about Nordstrom. We were talking about this earlier. How did you get men into Nordstrom?
So, again, I had men for maybe a year and a half. I got funding because my business partner saw my brand. Check number one, like the brand was invested, felt like it was something she wanted to put money towards.
And it was really clear that you had put money towards it.
Yes.
She was like, oh, this woman is invested. Exactly.
She said to me, it's a 360 experience. It's not just a logo. It's every time someone is either at an event, when they're at an event versus they're at a pop-up shop versus they're at a retail store, it's the same experience.
I love that 360
experience. It feels the
experience.
same thing. I bought clothes that were the shade of pink so people could only think about me in pink.
I love it. I don't even know who you are in this salmony coral shade.
I know, but I still have blush in my little little words project bracelets. But so when I went to Nordstrom, it's a very classic, like, you don't ask, you don't get. I walked into Nordstrom and I just like called the manager and I was like, I have 30 seconds to convince you why you should carry my brand in your store. So I physically had my jewelry on, so product was very clean, simple, pretty. And then she goes, well, do you have any photography of what you've done? And I happened to have, for the first time, invest in a photographer to photograph my blush displays, my very simple and elegant.
All based off of that branding that was predetermined. All based off the branding.
And I even color matched the paint that I painted my displays from my
God, you're such
brand
a good client.
style guide. I color Benjamin Moore matched it and had everything custom made, which is amazing. And I had her photo shoot, and I just happened to have the pictures. I didn't even know she wanted to look at pictures. And I showed her just this like really, just like beautiful, simple display. They had like gold hooks, hanging jewelry, earrings, customers interacting. And I just remember her being like, oh, okay, you have all the displays. You look legit. The product is beautiful.
Notoriety, legitimacy.
Photography.
You were able to represent that appropriately through that brand story.
You just saw the different mediums.
And then you were in Nordstrom.
And then because I was able to get into Nordstrom the first time, the second round, I hired a phenomenal carpenter who's a woman. I showed her my branding and she made me custom geometric displays in the mint pink. She cut out my diamond. Like, she knew the brand through and through and made me custom displays. And it captured the elegance and simplicity of my brand. And it was incredible, and you knew the brand the second you saw it set up at Nordstrom. It was awesome.
And
it was really fun.
It's right. It's so clear and it's palpable. It's just palpable. We are launching a new course at HeySaraSchultz.com. And
did I go through this one?
No, you've gone through pieces of this. You've gone through pieces of this. Yeah. We took some other content that we've already created. We rolled it all together, recorded an e-course. Kaylee, our videographer who's here today, cut to Kaylee. She recorded it a couple weeks ago. We're in the process of editing it right now. But we talk about 5 ways that you can activate your branding and how you can make it a little bit easier to build that brand recognition. Yes. We specifically talk about that on social media, but a smart consumer will do the things that I'm talking about on all touch points. And it's the stuff that you're talking about right now. It's wearing your brand colors. You don't always have to wear your brand colors. I'm not saying that. And I'm saying that makes it a real easy no-brainer for you to just snap a photo or have it around your setup.
And remember them. How are they going to remember you?
It forces them to think about it, right? So wear your brand colors. Continue to show up in that way, right?
Yes.
But you can't wing that. That has to be identified, defined.
You need the foundation.
You need the foundation.
You need your branding style guide. It's a document. You hire somebody to do it.
I call it the brand. It's like a brand Bible.
Yes.
It's like your brand Bible.
Yes. It is your...
You're just like, you put your hand on that thing, you live by it.
Yes, I keep dropping that.
You live by it.
It's sitting in my butt.
You gotta sit on that mic.
It's gotta go in my butt. That's on brand for me, right?
That is actually very on
brand.
That's
but
on brand.
It's like every touch point you think your customer could be having, your brand needs to be there and you need consistency. That's part of it. And that's foundation, and they need to just hire you to do it.
So, okay, our 3 takeaways, because we always like to wrap
Give you
up
3 things.
the refund with 3 takeaways. Well, the first thing that you can return the concept that it's a bad investment. You can return the concept that you can't make money on something like this. You absolutely can make more money if you're investing in your branding. So
you should hire a
the first thing.
professional, and that you should be okay to delegate it to somebody who.
I think that's a good number 1.
Yes.
And there are lots of different levels of professionals. You know, my agency is at a certain price point that isn't affordable to everyone.
Right.
And we structure our business that way for lots of different reasons. There's lots of talented artists out there, designers, graphic designers that can help you get a professional look. That's important. So hire a professional or outsource so that you ensure that there's strategy and intention behind that visual
You get to
story.
do the fun stuff. You get to see designs. You get to be a part of the creative process.
Yeah, that's a good number 1. Number 2, what's a good number 2 takeaway from today?
It's not an expense. It's an investment, which means you may not see it immediately, but it's going to be the longevity. It's going to be people remembering you.
It's the long game. I think that's why we say investment.
Yeah,
it's the long game.
It's a long game because it's a good brand should last you a while.
Yep, that's true.
It should be a timeless brand. It should be something that sticks with you forever. So let go of it feeling like it's an expense.
Yeah.
And it will benefit you long term more than you think. It may give you an opportunity with a big partner.
For sure.
Partnership with someone who's like a Nordstrom would be a good example.
I think number 3, you do a great job of this. Live it, breathe it, have it just be everywhere all the time.
Yes.
Because I think as entrepreneurs, and sometimes especially women in small business, we get afraid that we're annoying. We get afraid that like I'm saying the same thing too much, or I'm showcasing this too much, or my consumer's already seen it. A couple concepts here. On social media, you're lucky if 10% of your followers are even seeing your content.
Not enough.
It's not enough, and that's a little bit depressing, right? But that's the reality of how we consume.
Yes.
So you have to be consistent and do it and do it again and do it again. You're not annoying. You're not being problematic. Think about any mass media campaign.
Yes.
I always use the example of Britney Spears in the 2000s, the Pepsi commercial.
Yes.
You saw that commercial
good.
every other commercial break watching Friends on Thursday night. Like, you didn't
Those
watch it live like I did.
Yeah,
you were too
iconic.
little.
Yeah, I was a child.
I was watching it live. I think it was Thursday nights. And I saw that damn Britney Spears commercial, and then I don't even like soda, and I was like, well, I'm going to go drink a Pepsi now. Because it was just never ending. The same commercial just driven into your head. There's a reason that works. And so just adopt that into your own business. Be consistent. Do it and do it and do it again. Don't stop doing it. Live it, breathe it.
And it's easy if you love it. You love the brand.
Yeah.
It should feel easy, and that's if you have a good designer that's like understood what you want. You should
love
love
it.
it. Love
You
it,
should
live
love
it,
it.
breathe it. But yeah, it's important, and you should look at our brands, not only your design brand, my consulting brand, my jewelry brand, brands we both worked with. Like, we only work with brands that have really solid branding. So that's easy to at least get some intel on.
Any client that comes to us and is asking about like just web or having us help them with a social presence, we look at their branding first. If my team hasn't executed the branding, I will do a full brand assessment before I decide to take them on. That is, I will say no to somebody if I feel like their branding will not serve the cause.
Yeah.
And it is a strategic play, right? There's only so much that I can do, and if you have shitty branding, I cannot help you.
Yeah,
unless I can help you, and unless branding is in scope, then I definitely can help you.
Correct.
But I can't create collateral with shit branding. I won't do it.
That just shows that if you
That's a
say yes
boundary.
to somebody, it's a good fit.
It's a
So
good
you
fit.
have good branding. Cool.
That was fun. That was a good one.
Good branding.
Where can people find us? Here?
YouTubes.
Subscribe
if you like to watch YouTubes, if you like to listen everywhere you listen to a podcast.
In post, do you think this is working? Do you
I
think
think
it's
so.
here?
I hope there's like arrows. Follow us on socials, and
On the
then
socials.
show us your brand. I'd love to see your brand. Tag us.
We should
show
do
us
a
your brand,
Tag us,
and we'll look at your brands.
and we will comment. I love this. That's such a fun idea.
We'll look at your brand, and we'll let you know what we think.
We'll let you know honestly what we think. Good luck.
Yeah, I was just gonna say. Uh-oh. Okay, bye.